Welcome to ABB Automation here in Västerås, Sweden. Today we are in the demo room and my name is Åsa Larsson and I have my colleague.
I'm Christian Dahl and today we're going to have a look at the distributed control system, System 800XA, as we see here behind us.
Today we will run a scenario for you in the chemical plant. We start in the operator workplace and then continue and look behind the scenes.
So, in the control room we have Valerie 7 playing the role of an operator. And here we see an overview that gives Valerie information on the current status of the plant.
So imagine it is in the middle of the night at the chemical plant and the tank here is filling up rapidly. What would happen then, Christian?
So the system would already have detected that, analyzed the situation and will act automatically without having Valerie do anything.
Notification. Performance degradation detected on pump 1. The redundant pump has been started automatically to maintain tank level. No operator action required.
So the system have already detected the situation, analyzed what's happening and started to act accordingly.
A chemical plant needs to run for 24/7 for many years without any disruption.
So there are many things going on in the system. For this high availability use case of the pump, the system actually have been designed from ground up, from the control logic application to the actual software running to manage this situation. Today we're going to have a look at two examples of how this is implemented in System 800XA.
So let's take a look at the architectural overview of System 800XA. Starting from the device level with different devices in the plant, like temperature sensors, level indicators, pumps and valves, etc. And these are all sending and receiving signals from the I/O systems. The I/O systems, they send and receive those signals to the controller. And in the controller there is a logic loop processing the data sent and received from the I/Os.
And from the controllers, the base system servers subscribe to the information from the controllers. And where Valerie was sitting here up in the operator workplace, these communicate to the base system services to get the information. And for high availability to work, then this entire chain must be redundant. That means that we have at least 2 base system services and at least 2 controllers.
And a plant like the chemical plant we used in the example can contain 100,000 of I/O signals. Let's look at how the redundancy in the I/O system can look like. Here we have a redundant I/O system, Select I/O. This is a demo rack and you can see here there are redundant pair of hardware. There is a Ethernet adapter TC810, a redundant pair, and a field communication interface, also a redundant pair. And if we go further down here in the structure, we have the general I/O here, GIS 810. These are also redundant pair, and they can contain up to 16 single channels. This one is a primary, and this is a backup. They both run in parallel at the same time, executing the same code. The controller, however, only reads information from primary I/O. So this one is a primary, and if I have to replace that, I just do that, I turn it off, and then I can see that the backup module is taking over instantly as a primary. I remove this one, and I can replace this or do what I need to do on this module, and then insert it back again. And as soon as I turn this on, it will start initiating and it will take over as a primary module again. To achieve the high availability in a system, it's really important to have redundant hardware. And this is an example of the Select I/O family.
So, we are going to delve into the base system services and the redundancy here. There are many different services running here. We've selected the aspect directory for this example. To understand that one, we need to explain the aspect object technology we have in the system. So in the plant, we have many different devices like pump, valve, sensors of any kind. They have all a digital twin representation in the system. On these objects, we place aspects that are important for this type of device. For example, the maintenance information like drawings for that specific device. We could have management information. Maybe they are interested in learning the performance of the motor. So if you would like to know more about this technology, you can go and read the patent. And with that, let's have a look at the Aspect Directory service storing this information. And I will walk you through 3 different scenarios. The first one is the actual startup of the Aspect Directory. All 3 come up running and they need to decide who will be the primary. Then the secondaries need to synchronize the data, ensure that they share the same view. So this is the initialization phase. Then we move to the next scenario. Here we do writes, like you would add a motor or do some other modifications to your process. From an engineering workplace, you would then do this engineering change, which will then trigger a write. But since this guy is not the primary, the transaction is forwarded to the primary because that's the one that needs to take the decisions. It sends the write request to that guy and all need to respond to that write. Majority has been reached, then the data is committed to all the backups and when they return that the save operation completed. And this ensures that we always have consistent data throughout all servers. So this is what we call 2 out of 3 redundancy. The Aspect Directory can also run in another mode called 1 out of 2. This has certain limitations, of course. Still, from a footprint reduction, a very popular type of deployment. Third scenario, of course, read. Compare this a little bit towards cloud technology that everybody's using today. What's key here, it's optimized for read performance. Typical operation from an operator perspective. He will navigating and changing the picture. He wants read to be performed quickly. Thereby you can read from any Aspect Directory since they are all in sync. In a large plant we have over 400,000 objects and each object have stored as blobs, binary objects, very efficiently. That's why they are small. You can compare that to if you have an image in OneDrive, that would be a fairly large thing. You would read that in one go. If we compare Aspect Object Technology, we have stored it in small pieces, pixels almost. And whenever the operator navigates, many of these ones very quickly and efficiently. This is one of the key strengths in System 800XA, one among many.
Thanks for staying with us today.
Now it's time to get back to work. Thank you.